Oh, hey, welcome back, Shop Rats. Today we are doing something simple but necessary, and well, we got battery issues on the 73 Swinger. So we're going to change the battery and got some things I want to share with you about that. Let's watch the show intro. It's 5 seconds, and I'll see you right on the other side. Don't go away. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
One of the things about the channel is we have people with all kinds of different levels of experience, and while changing a battery in a car may not be the most exciting episode in the world, it's still a muscle car, of course, but also there's some things I want to share, and we're going to do a little testing. So what the issue with Scoops is, the battery has been going dead in this car after it sits for 3 days to a week. At first, I thought it was the phone charger being plugged into the cigarette lighter. And so I was trying to be intentional about making sure that I unplugged that, but it really didn't make any difference in that scenario at all. So we have one of two things. We have a battery that is failing and just losing charge, which means it has an internal short, or we have a short somewhere in the car that is causing issues, and we don't have any tissues. So if there's a short somewhere in the car, we want to test for that to be sure that's not why the battery's going dead. So well, it may seem pretty rudimentary and elementary. Like I said, we have channel viewers of all different skill levels, and I thought it was worth just sharing a little bit of the basics about batteries and electrical system testing if you're concerned that you might have a those were not as tight as they should be. If you're concerned that you might have a battery draw. So let me grab the other battery. So this is a Group 26 battery, and that was a Group 24 side post. I think that was a 24. Anyway, that's the one out of my Cadillac. That's a really expensive interstate battery. I paid almost $200 for that battery, and I've not been very impressed with it, to tell you the truth. This Everstart from Walmart has been pretty decent. It's been in the 47, so it hasn't been in a daily, but it seems like it holds a charge even through the winter, and the car always starts. And the nice thing about this battery is $200 for that. I paid $50 for this one. Now, they may be up a little bit more in price than that, but not by much. Now, it's only a 650 cranking amp battery. It's not anything huge, but it will definitely do the job. One thing about batteries is I don't keep my negative battery terminal completely tight. I like to be able to, when I park the car, I like to take the battery off, especially if it's parked inside. But the main thing is keep them tight and keep them clean if possible. Now, they make special disconnects and so forth, and I've always been going to get some, but I never have. But keeping your battery terminals clean goes a long ways to making your battery perform well. So keep that in mind. I like the wire brush style of battery post cleaners, and I spin it both ways. I have a real expensive snap-on one that uses a blade, and that works fine too. But these wire brush ones, I think they just do a little better job overall, and they don't carve away as much of the battery terminal and battery connector post type thing. So we're going to do, well, I'm going to bolt this in here permanently first, but let me check and make sure that it actually has some zip to it. Otherwise, we'll have to charge it for a while. I thought it was good because last time I used it, this is the one out of the 47 actually, and it started that car up just fine last time. So whoops. Another thing to always do is make sure that your battery's tied down. And I admit that I've not always been as diligent about that over the years as I should have been. But a battery jouncing around, first of all, isn't safe. Second of all, it's not good for the battery itself. So it's better to have the battery bolted into the car. And like I said, in years past, I've not been real diligent about that. But I've been trying to do better. I need to get my cutoff wheel and trim this down. These battery terminal or hold down posts were a bit long, in the other battery, and this one's just a little bit shorter. So okay, there we go. That's bolted in nice now. So let's do a test real quick and see if we have any ignition draw before I tighten things down. I'm using a Snap-on circuit tester. This one is actually safe for computer circuits. I have another one that's just a light bulb. This one actually has a diode in it, I believe it is, or something special. And it's safe, so it won't backfeed computer circuits and potentially blow a circuit. So if we don't have an ignition draw, what will happen is when we take this off of here and we touch it here, that light should not come on. Now, it did briefly come on. See if I can show you that, if it'll do it again. I know why that is. And it goes out. I'm pretty sure that is just a capacitor somewhere that was discharging. So we don't have a draw, is my point. If that goes out right away, and yeah, see that whatever that capacitor is now, that's discharged. So it's, I don't know what the capacitor would be in, but that's all that was. So we don't have a draw. It was a battery for sure. So that's good to know. So I'm going to get a wrench, and we're going to tighten these down and make sure everything is copacetic. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the positive one good and tight. If you look on your torque spec chart, that's the German torque, gut and tight. This one I'm going to not tighten down too much, but just enough. If I want to take it off, I can. And it's loose enough now I can take it off. Like I said, for storage and for longer term issues, I always leave one a little bit loose, but snug. There we go. Okay, so that should work. So let's cut these off now where they belong to be. I should look around and see if I have a new washer bottle, because this one's vintage. I just looked up in the warehouse and I don't see anything up there, so we're going to walk over here to Sassy. I think Sassy is a foot pump type, not the electric type, but we'll see what it is. Take you over there. So I thought I had one up in the warehouse, but I think as I think about it, I think the last one I had I ended up using. Maybe it's on this car. I don't remember, but they get brittle over time, of course. I was thinking about it'd be fun to make one out of aluminum, but I haven't done that, and I probably won't. Oh, it's actually got a nice one in it, and it is the foot pump style, so I can't use it in scoops. So this has just got the little nipple that comes out, and it sucks fluid out to a little rubber pump on the floor, and it actually is manual. So Scoops is a much fancier car, and it has the electric one. So, oh well, don't have one, but that one's in good shape. I wonder if that is the one I took off that 76 Scamp. I don't think I have any other cars around here that would have one in it that would work. I suppose we could look in the Golden Mullet, but that would probably be different because it's B-body. I think those actually, if they had them, they would have had a bag in those days instead of a bottle. Let's look. I don't remember. It has nothing. So if it had washers, yeah, it did have washers, because then the washer bottle would have been over here because there's the hose. So the washer bottle would have been mounted right here. So it did have a bottle of some kind. Okay, well, it's not there anyway, so it's irrelevant. And this doesn't look like it was the pump style. It must have been electric. So GTS doesn't have one either, so I guess we'll just go without that for now. It'll be fine. So yeah, let me regroup my thoughts here just a moment and be right back. Only other thing I wanted to do, I changed the ballast resistor on this car a while ago, and I don't remember if this one was actually bad. I think what happened was the ignition box failed, but I tried a ballast just to be sure. We'll test this, I suppose, and see, but I don't think this one was actually bad. It's funny because my buddy John from over at the Life at Speed channel and I joke all the time about if anybody posts any kind of an issue with their car, it's the ballast resistor is the problem. You got to change the ballast resistor. My car runs for 10 minutes and quits. And then it'll start back up again after it cools. I'll change the ballast resistor. My car won't start at all. I do have spark, but it won't start. Oh, it's the ballast resistor. Change the ballast resistor. Oh, that one's cracked. I got to change that ballast resistor. We'll test that one, see if it's good. I got a flat tire on the left front. Oh, it's the ballast resistor. In all my years, I've seen them break. I can't ever recall ever actually burning out a ballast resistor. Maybe if I did, but the issue was something else, like a bad ground somewhere. I'm not saying they never fail. They're a resistor, but I'm saying it's kind of a wives' tale in my experience, and a lot of other Mopar guys' experience too, that ballast resistors fail all the time. Now, I'm not saying I don't carry one in the glove box, because I do, but they don't fail nearly as often as what people lead you to believe. And I think part of the reason for that is because one of the first things that a lot of guys will change when there's an issue and they keep going, and maybe find another issue somewhere in there, but they never went back and bothered checking the old ballast resistor, so they just assumed it was a ballast resistor. But let's see if this starts. It should, because it's the ballast resistor. I've been running in it for 2 years. It does not start without having the key in the ignition. Very good. Okay, we'll test this thing and make sure it's good. Got a battery charger out here, and I'm gonna just hook this up to the thingamabobby. And so we're testing one side of the resistor. We got light, so that means that side is good. Hook it up to the other side of the resistor. And we got light. So that ballast resistor is fine. If I had an ohm meter handy, I could test it with that. But you just put some voltage to it, and if you've got voltage through it, it either works or it doesn't, because it's a porcelain piece with a coil of wire. That's all it is. So if the ballast resistor burns out, the coil of wire snaps and you have no continuity through it. So you can test it with a continuity tester, or like I said, I just throw 12 volts on it, use a test light, and if it lights up, then you know it's good. So I'm going to do the right thing and just throw this in the glove box. Of course, I can't get in this side because the door's locked. I'm going to say this battery is junk because I just threw it on the charger here. We got sparkage. Put it on there. It's drawing just a couple of amps. So we'll see if it bounces back, but I've already done that once, and when I came back here, it had stopped charging. So it might have lost connection, but and I'm just leaving it on manual. That's where it actually puts out the most. See, boom. I think we got a battery here that's junk. So we'll just leave it on the charger for a few hours, and we'll see what happens. Make sure that our connectivity is good, but I'm guessing we are not in good shape. I think the last thing to do for the day is just check the oil and make sure that we're not, that we've got all the oils in there, is what I'm saying. We are a quart low, so we'll run back in the trunk and we will top this off. And we'll check the antifreeze when it's not hot. I guess it's not really that hot right now. So let's see if we can blow it up and make one heck of a viral video by watching a cooling system explode all over me. Nope, it didn't. Gonna need to top that off, but I haven't checked it for winter yet. It's only down a little bit. So let me get some oil in it, and then we should be good to go for a while. wasn't my intention to keep this car on the road through the winter. I won't be driving it in the slop and the stuff like that, but I think I am going to go ahead and keep the road coverage on it at least for a while. Oh, I love these baffled valve covers. They're a pain in the butt. It takes forever to put oil in it. Anywho, um, so, with the 20 miles to the gallon, and of course, it's a fun car to drive. It's got brand new tires all the way around. Um, it needs a front end alignment really bad, but I need to pull it in the shop and check the front end. Most of the parts in the front end were replaced, so we should be good. But we should be good to go for another year with this car the way it is now. I still want to do the intake, get that changed out. Been talking about that for a while, so that didn't go too bad considering. Certainly not like the 360 that's in the GTS, but that has mechanical rockers, and so I had to pound the baffles up to clear that. Otherwise, it sounded like it had a rod knock. Okay, we should be good now. We should be back up to full on the oil and go from there. Something else I just noticed, I don't know if you can see that, the spacer on the alternator is loose. Let me pull you down there where you can see. It shouldn't be loose like that, so I suspect I know what's going on. I'm just going to put a wrench on here real quick and see if we can snug it up. Yeah, we should be okay. It should tighten up. We'll see. Nope. Okay, we're going to have to pull that apart. Not today. We're going to have to pull that apart and find out why that's not tightening down. I know why. I can just about bet you why. It's missing a washer inside of here. There's supposed to be a washer on the inside of that. I think, if I remember right. Definitely not the most exciting episode in the world, but a little maintenance and a battery replacement on scoops goes a long way to keeping that car on the road for a while longer. So I do need to drive it. Actually, Wednesday I got some meetings and my truck is on fumes and this is full. So makes sense. And it's supposed to be, I think, 75 degrees. It was 31 this morning, but it's supposed to be 75. It's like 50 something now. So the weather's warming up and that's always a good time to drive a classic car. Let's put her to bed. Good girl.
Good old Scoops.
Well, that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you, as always, just spending some time here with me in the shop, doing whatever it is that I need to do. And whenever it's related to particularly an old car or something with the shop, I share the journey with you. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. We're going to be hot and heavy back into some of the big projects again real soon. Thanks for being here. Catch you on the next one. I didn't forget. I promise. Rock!